Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, Duale has been given 14 days strike notice to either pay 43 billion SHA debt or face the consequences.
Hereby today issue a 14-day go-slow notice to the Social Health Authority. So beginning the 19th of September, unless SHA takes decisive steps to address the following issues, we will have reached the limit of our credit. So our demands are the following. Number one, that the Social Health Authority immediately settles all outstanding NHIF liabilities in line with the President's directive of 5th of March. Number two, that the Social Health Authority pays at least 50% of the outstanding 43 billion SHA liabilities.
Now, this is coming at a time whereby Duale had reassured the public that that SHA was going to clear all the debts, but in phases. Then Duale introduced another phase whereby any facility that owes the government owes it 10 million and above will go through scrutiny first before being paid. So you understand what that means, you know.
Has suspended a total of 40 health facilities found to have engaged in these criminal activities.
Now let's look at this matter extensively, how it's going to impact Duale's implementation of SHA. But before we continue with this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to appreciate you for the support you've been giving this channel. If you wish to support us, just like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for your support. Now, Rufa, if they make this move, for instance, Rufa, normally when they decide that they want to strike, it's always done. So the big question is, how do they strike? It's very simple. What they will do, they will first of all suspend SHA, or they will go slow on SHA clients, probably treat only those people in very serious conditions. That is one thing that I know Rufa is going to do. There was a time they did almost the same thing. And back then, what they did is that they suspended SHA, usage of SHA in facilities, but the government again countered that move by threatening to close down all facilities that had illegally suspended SHA. But you see, at the end of the day, Rufa is going to win in this war because they need money to facilitate the treatments. Duale cannot force them with such payments. You see, this is coming at a time whereby Duale did or make a serious blunder and went public and said that they are going to pay St. Mary's. Duale forgot that there are so many facilities. In fact, St. Mary's is also part of Rufa, if I'm not wrong, but I think it's part of Rufa. There are so many facilities that the government owes the money. So the fact that Duale gave an assurance to a facility like St. Mary's, Duale alisahau kwamba kuna facilities ambazo zinamwangalia ambazo pia zinadai. For the case of St. Mary's, we know that was a political movement. It was a political move to try to settle scores here, because when Duale promised to pay 100 million unverified bills, yet Duale goes ahead and says, we will verify your bills above 10 million. We will verify first before we pay you. But then on this other side, Duale promises to pay around 100 million without verification. That was a serious blunder. I noted that was going to cause a lot of problem, and that is exactly what has happened here. Because if you look at the notice issued by Rufa, like for instance, there is a case of Kenyatta National Hospital that is expecting 1.58 billion. There is a Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, 1.23 billion. Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Research Hospital, 540 million. Nakuru County Hospital 297 million. So what Rufa is telling us is that SHA is not working. And if at all SHA is working, then the office of Duale is sabotaging SHA implementation. That is exactly what is coming from the Rufa team. I know of people who are under Rufa, and they also offer services using SHA. So what happens is that some of these facilities have been struggling to meet their day-to-day activities, payments of bills. One thing that the government forgets, and I agree with Rufa, is that when they treat patient, they must pay for drugs. They must pay salary. They must pay other recurring expenses, electricity bills. There are people who pay rent for those premises. So this is the main reason why I agree with Rufa. When Rufa says they must go on a strike after 14 days if at all Duale does not do something about it. I agree with what they're going to do. The national strike is the best way forward for them to actually force Duale to respond. When St. Mary's closed down, I like to use the example of St. Mary's because St. Mary's sent a direct message to them. Look here, we can't pay salary, we can't pay bills, we have to close down. That is the only way we can survive. Close down so that we don't get expenses, So if Rufa says it is the right way forward or the best way forward, I agree with Rufa. Because how else would you force a government to listen to you? Going on a strike like the one that Rufa has threatened to go on. And that's going to take place after 14 days. So which way Duale, the person whom this message is being directed to, is none other than Duale himself. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about Rufa's notice? Rufa has issued a 14-day notice to Duale that Duale needs to react or face the consequences. That is the message coming from Rufa. And the consequences are going on a nationwide strike, going slow, not offering services to clients. That's what's going to happen. And that is going to work to the disadvantage of citizens who have been paying SHA. They have been paying for SHA, yet they are not benefiting from SHA. That is what is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you once again for choosing YOLENO TV as your favorite political channel.